Alright everybody, welcome back to Therapy Drive. Today we're going to be talking about maintenance, and yeah, you heard the light right. I've got a pressure loss detected, so I probably have an issue with one of my tires, but hopefully that's not too bad. So we'll be covering the maintenance I've done on the car, how much it cost me, what options there are to fix your car. I've gone to most of them, how much each option costs, what's worth it, what's not, common failures and such. Alright, let's see if we can pull out of this real quick. So, in my about year and a half of ownership, a couple things have broken down. I guess some of it was also deferred maintenance. I received the car with the front brakes completely gone and the rear ones not far from being gone. The guy kind of lied. He said they had 50% left. They really didn't, so I had to replace them too. The fronts are more expensive. They were about like 750 Canadian dollars, and the rear were about 350. So the fronts I did at the dealership, that's why they charged me so much. I could have probably done them for a little less, like 550, 600. And then the rears, 350, that's just the price at a, individual shop. And that's good for a long time, like 40,000 miles or something, depending on how you drive. So that's the first cost, which make sure that's done before you buy the car, because that's very expensive already. Shortly after, there was a problem with the turbo. It's a common failure, especially in countries where there's rust. Basically the turbo has a little door that opens and closes, and that controls the boost. Build up the boost, open the door, pushes it out, gives you the boost from the turbo, etc. That door can rust because of the material that Volkswagen used. So mine was rusty, so it wasn't opening and closing properly, and it was staying open, sometimes closed. And so you get an engine check light and a ECU, which is like an electric fault light, because obviously the electrics are like door closed, but the door isn't closing and the boost is wrong, and so the computer's confused. There's some specialists near me that do this, a secondhand shop, and it was not fun. It was $1,500. Now they replaced it with their custom door that doesn't rust, so it's probably good for life until the engine blows up. But I wish I would have known I could have just bought the same turbo for like $300 and have them put that on for a lot cheaper, or get a better turbo and upgrade, since I've already tuned my car. That would have been a lot better. So I regret, trying to fix it instead of just replacing the part, which would have been much cheaper, which it usually is. But so that was the second main issue with the car. Then, also rust related, the timing cover, which is on the side of the engine, where inside there's like the chains that move around. It's basically like two pieces of metal that are together, and with rust, they'll obviously rust out and start to separate, and that separation will lead to oil spilling out, and that's obviously not good, an oil spill. And also it can let debris from under, like dirt and stuff when you're driving, go into there, which is going to affect the inside of your engine, and could have, one in a million, it could have a little rock go inside and just break your engine. So that's not great. So I had to fix that. That was the most expensive fix I've done thus far. That was $2,000. That was ridiculous. The part is like $150, but they either have to pull the engine out, which is what it officially says to say, or they have to like get in there. But it took them like the whole day, these guys. It took them like 8 hours of labor. They probably needed multiple guys to do it. It was a mess. It was very expensive. Yeah, this car's starting to become very expensive, to be honest. So I don't know how much I recommend it, because we've already said a lot of things. Then it needed tires, and so that was just another $1,000. Otherwise, after this long list, there aren't many things that go wrong with this. I currently have a leak in my currently do have another leak. It's in my oil pan, which is at the bottom of the engine. I lowered my car. Montreal roads have horrible potholes. I most likely banged it one too many times and it cracked a little bit. I got a new mechanic and he's really nice, and he like told me that it was just like a really small crack and that it should be perfectly fine for now, but I should in the future get it fixed. It's probably going to be another $500, especially since I'm thinking of upgrading to a metal oil pan, which they do, because right now it's plastic. So then if I do eventually bump again into these roads with the potholes and everything, it'll resist better and I might get a few tries before it breaks. So that's quite a bit. Then when it comes to like your basic maintenance, like doing your oil changes, your spark plugs, and all of that, that's also, it's not cheap, I'd say. Like you can definitely do it yourself pretty easily, but if you're not savvy, or it's your first car, or you don't really want to meddle around and you don't know what you're doing, which was my situation when I got those done. I paid for them. Windshield wipers, which is super easy to clip off and on, they charged me like $150 for the two front ones in the rear. The oil change is like $200. Granted, they used, I was at a private shop and they used like liquid moly, which is really good. It's like the highest tier oil you can get for this. Still $200. The product itself is $80. You just have to like take the filter off, open the plug, drain the bottom, close the bottom, put the liquid in, close it, forget about it. Wish I could have done it myself, but I didn't have anywhere to do it. Spark plugs, they recommend you to swap them out because the spark plugs do go, they do break over time. And so the spark plugs, it's like $200 for the spark plugs, but then they need to install them and they charge you another hour of labor, which is like, here it's like $100 something, and then tax. So all in, you're $400 for 4 spark plugs. That's also pretty expensive. You could definitely do it yourself. It's very simple. Again, I had nowhere to do it, so I didn't. But that comes to the conclusion of all the maintenance I've done in 2 years. If you add it up, I might as well have bought a McLaren. I probably have spent less money on maintenance. Yeah, if you add all that up, I'm not far. Let's not count the like consumables like brakes and tires, because that's obviously things that you just need to replace. They're called consumables for a reason. But if you count everything else that breaks, that shouldn't break, or not consumables, I'm at like at least $6,000 into this $9,500 car, which is what I bought it for. So looking back, that's way too much money, and that makes no sense. No sense at all. So that's that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I did. Like sometimes I just forget or tell myself, oh yeah, but that wasn't really maintenance, but really it was. I haven't had any suspension problems. The suspension's really good. I had to look at my suspension, and mind you, I'm in like a rusty country and stuff. And the suspension actually is holding up really well. I did the coilovers because I wanted to lower my car. Not mandatory. The shocks are still perfectly fine, even though they had 160,000 kilometers on them. So can't say anything about that. Otherwise, most parts are really like solid. It's just the rust, to be honest. This is a German car, so it's meant to be in Germany and Europe, not in like super salty, pothole riddled roads in the middle of Quebec, where there's like snow for 6 months. And this is a 10-year-old car at this point. So all in, it's like to be expected, plus deferred maintenance. The guy probably sold it to me with that turbo fault and with the leak. So if you had done everything and I had paid like, I don't know, 11 grand for the car instead, I would be much better off. So I guess that's a lesson that it's better to buy a car that is more expensive but is perfectly clean, rather than to buy a car that is not perfectly clean, that has issues, and you don't know about them. Because when I drove the car, everything seemed fine. He said the front brakes, that's why his was a bit cheaper than everybody else. He had a couple cosmetic things done that I would have had to pay for, like the tinted windows, which I was like, okay, cool, so there's tint windows. You're a little cheaper than everybody else. Your mileage is okay, everything's clean on the inside. Looked perfectly fine. So I was like, you know what, that's fine. But I didn't know about the turbo issue. I didn't know about the rusty timing cover, which are things that really you don't know. The turbo, if I had like pedal to the floor, driven the car, I would have noticed, because it would have really used a lot of the boost, and then it would have gotten the door shut. So make sure you drive your car hard when you're, like the car you're gonna potentially buy. Make sure you drive it slow, hard, brake, everything, do everything to it. And then actually I'm thinking there is one more thing I did. The handbrake, it can loosen over time, especially me. I like to like handbrake all the way up to make sure I'm good. And that can pull on the cables, and the cables basically have like a nut and a wall, and that's like tightly together, but sometimes the nut loosens, so then the cable that's going through, when it gets pulled, there's play here, and that play can build up until you have so much play that the handbrake it's not firm down here, and it just like, as you drive, it'll just like go up. It won't actually go past like one of the tooths, so it won't like handbrake and lock the brakes, but it will put a light saying that your parking brake is on, which you don't want. So that was actually kind of an easy fix I did myself. You have to go in the back here in the like center console in the back, you pull that part off, you pry it. It was actually kind of simple, not like worried you're gonna break it or anything. It was pretty straightforward. And then you need to get like a long extended wrench in there and like tighten it, and now it's super tight, but that was, I guess, a pain in the ass, and that was another thing that needed to be done. Trying to think if there's anything else. Yeah, then I also put like new headlights, Vland headlights, and I had to switch out the bulb. That was easy. It's even easier with a normal car because these were HID, so you have like a ballast, which is like a box that comes with the thing, so that's really annoying, and I had to pull it out, like pull the whole headlight out. The original ones, you just go behind, you twist something to open it, you pop in your bulb, and that's it, that's done. So easy to work on if you don't have major issues. I unfortunately had major issues, and I had deferred maintenance, so I better keep this car for 15 years. I've just thrown money out the window like crazy. That's my situation. And then I did mods to it, so I don't even want to know what the all-in cost is. But I'm happy with the car. It drives really well. I'm really happy. So all good. All good. So, yeah, all good. I'm happy with everything. I will definitely be more diligent next time I buy a car. Check everything about it, drive it like it's mine, even though I'm just test driving. I've grown a lot since I bought this car, so now I know a lot of different tips and tricks, so that's good.